What's up guys, it's Gooey from Honey Yu-Gi-Oh! And today I'm going to be talking about Dark Worlds. So a lot of us know what Dark Worlds are in the meta. The Dark deck that revolves around discarding and having their effects go up in the graveyard. Some of these cards that are really busted in the set include Grapha, Gold, Brow, Snow. Even the discard outlets, Drag Down, Gates of Dark World. And the deck even gets utility out of cards that didn't necessarily mean super pluses. Like Card Destruction gives the deck so much power that it's almost ridiculous. But today I want to talk about why the deck is dumb. Like why the deck is the powerhouse that it is today. First off, the reason why I think this deck is really busted is that it can puke its boss monster multiple times over. Its boss monster is Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Just because you don't get the pop effect more than 3 times normally, it doesn't mean that the monster is useless more than 3 times. Just the fact that, you can just bounce a face-up Dark World monster other than Grapha, especially summon Grapha from the grave, to me that's really dumb and that's a really easy condition to meet. I also think that his secondary effect is also pretty good. If you don't know what his secondary effect is, if he's pitched by your opponent's discard outlet, you look at the card in your opponent's hand, as in like you select a random card. If it's a monster, you special it to your side of the field. So if they have Gores, it's on your side of the field. It can't drop Gores now. The deck also has other really cool monsters in it, like Brow, which what he does is when he's discarded by your outlet, you draw a card. If he's discarded by your opponent's outlet, you draw 2. So you can play Dark World Dealings, draw a card, discard Brow, draw another card. It's a plus. It's a +1. If your opponent does it, you're not even minusing. You plus like a bastard. The deck even has really good search power because it's got 3 Dark World Snows right now. Which Dark World Snow is when it's pitched by your effect, you search for a Dark World card. Meaning you're not only limited to searching out Grapha or Beige or Renge or Scar, you can also search out Dark World Dealings, Gates of Dark World Lightning. Like, the utility of Snow in the deck is really good. It puts cards like Agent Earth to shame. Because Earth only searches monsters, which, given the fact that Agent's boss monster isn't an agent, it really kind of cripples that. Whereas, the Dark World's boss monster, Grapha, is a Dark World. Not to mention the deck also gets utility out of cards that normally would be a -1 just because you had to use that one card. But plus, it normally lets you use cards that normally don't let you get pluses like that. Because with Card Destruction, normally you have to -1 because you have to use Card Destruction. Whereas Dark Worlds, if you have a handful of Graphas and a couple Brows and you have Card Destruction, you're going to get 7 cards in hand and 3 Destructions. That's really busted. Not to mention, like I said, you're going to have 7 cards in hand. Because you're going to get the draw 2 more off the 2 Brows. It gets really dumb. Not to mention, with Tour Guide of the Underworld, Tour Guide of the Underworld is amazing in that deck. Because if you have a Grapha engrave, you can summon Tour Guide, pull Dark World Brow because he's a level 3 fiend, bounce Brow, and special the Grapha. You have a dead Tour Guide on the field, but you got Grapha. The Tour Guide don't matter at that point. You got a 3k beater with Gates up, given you have Gates. The deck also even gets to use Skill Drain, which, a lot of us know what Skill Drain does. It's, pay 1,000, and face-up effects can't activate. That's a really good card. And Dark Worlds can use it without minusing. Granted, you'll have to side out your Tour Guides, your Trance Archfiends, and your Fabled Ravens, but you can just put in more discard outlets that way. I really feel like Dark Worlds is one of the most busted decks to come out, just because it can puke so many monsters in a small amount of time. Granted, it can't hold a candle to wind-ups or injectors in that aspect, but at the same time, though, once you go through your resources and wind-ups, you went through your resources. Unless you draw into a Pot of Avarice, you really don't have shit. With Dark Worlds, all you need is a Brow or a Beige, and you can still get your Graph on field, and just hold on to that Beige or Brow. The only problem with the Dark World deck, though, is that it can be stopped by way too many things. I mean, Consecrated Light hits it, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror hits it, Banisher of the Radiance hits it, Deep Fissure hits it, Macrocosmos hits it, Soul Drain hits it. It's really kind of sad in that aspect, just because anything that can hit the grave can stop it. Necro Valley hits it because you can't banish for gates. It's just kind of shitty. The only thing the only good thing about Shadow Imprisoning Mirror for Dark Worlds is that you can still special graph it under Shadow Mirror. That's it. If you didn't have that, you'd have nothing. It would be a good game. I might as well scoop. But at the same time, though, the deck also gets really good utility out of some rank 3s, 4s, 5s, and 8s. Because, I mean, with tour guides in there, you can get access to cards like, you know, Wind Up Zenmaines, Leviair, Tempo, Musa Rhythm, you know, the regular 3s. You can get good utility out of some rank 4s with Trance Archfiend and Beiges. That way it allows you to go into, like, Utopia, Maestroke, you know, other 4s. You can really go into some good 5s with the deck, given the fact that you can go into ZW Leo Arms. That's a card that recently came out. You can attach it to Utopia and make it a 55 double attacker. That's really good, in my opinion. And with the deck, you can also go with the 5s. You can also go into Tiras, Adrius, Zenmayo, Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja. Even 8s are a possibility, like I said, because you got 3 Graphas and they just recycle themselves. So you can easily go into cards like Neo Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon, Dragon Lord Heliopolis, Gimmick Puppet of Strings, Gimmick Puppet of Leo. It just the abilities go on and on. It's just good. Like I said, like it gets crippled to cards like Fissure and Macro, but I mean that's a small price to pay. I'm sorry if there are way too many cuts in this video. I'm kind of sick right now, so I keep having to cut out the coughing. I promise that there's not going to be that many cuts in future videos. It's just, you know, that time of the year. So if you have a comment about the Dark World deck or any other thing you want to talk about, put it in the comment section below. And if you got something you want to tell us, hit us up on Facebook and Google+. Well, I'm Gooby, and I'll see you all next time.